All right, for this explainer, we're diving headfirst into a dark fantasy parable. This is a big one, a dramatic story about two cosmic beings, the very nature of power, and, the violent, necessary birth of human freedom.
So let's start with a really provocative question, one that kind of frames this whole story. To be free, do we have to kill our gods? Think about that. It forces you to consider a pretty dangerous idea. What if the very systems that are meant to create order eventually become our cages?
Okay, so our story begins, Act 1. And right away, we meet these two immense forces. But here's the thing. They don't rule with swords or fire. Nope, they rule with something way more fundamental, language. They are quite literally the masters of the word, and they use it to shape reality itself. So on one side, you've got Wotan, the Allfather. He's this god of poetry, and he uses words to forge cosmic law, to build order. And on the other side, Mephistopheles. He's the master trickster, and he uses words to find all the little cracks in that order and bring chaos. They're like two sides of the same coin, right? Both are masters of language, but their goals couldn't be more different.
Wotan's power? It comes from this incredible mythical source, the mead of poetry. And get this, he stole this divine drink, but not for himself. He did it to gift it to humanity. This is the power of creation we're talking about, the ability to establish meaning, to create order, to build entire worlds, all just with words.
Mephistopheles, though, he wields a totally different kind of verbal power, sophistry. And what's so fascinating here is that his power isn't about creating anything, it's about unraveling everything. He uses this super sharp, deceptive wit to find loopholes in any system, to play on our desires, and to basically turn the logic of existence against itself.
And that brings us to Act 2. This is where we really start to see the true nature of their power. For one of them, it's a gift of creation. For the other, it's a snare for the soul.
So, Wotan's gift of poetry, it kind of hardens into these things called the runes. And these are the building blocks of his whole ordered universe. The best way to think of them is as these unbending, divine laws, just carved right into the fabric of reality. They give everything structure, meaning, they're the foundation for all authority. They tell you exactly how the world is supposed to work.
Mephistopheles, on the other hand, he creates contracts. And this is such a brilliant illustration of its whole method. See, he doesn't break the law. He uses the language of the law to create these inescapable traps. Just like that infamous deal with Faust, right? He finds the loopholes in existence itself to literally ensnare a soul, turning the promise of desire into a prison made of fine print.
Yeah, so this table just lays it all out perfectly. You've got Wotan using poetry to create these rigid runes to establish cosmic law. Then you've got Mephistopheles using sophistry to craft these legalistic contracts and basically subvert that very same law. One builds, the other dismantles. But you see the common thread, right? Their weapon is always language.
But here's the really crucial paradox of the whole story. Both of them, the god of order and the demon of chaos, they're both necessary. They're what you'd call destructive catalysts. Without their constant push and pull, humanity would just stagnate. We'd be trapped in either this perfect, unchanging order or total meaningless chaos. Their conflict is what creates the friction we need to grow.
And that brings us to Act 3, the God's Gambit. This is the huge turning point, It's where the architect of order looks at his own creation and realizes it's become a cage.
This is Wotan's big aha moment, his profound realization. Those laws he created to give everyone meaning and safety, well, they've become inflexible, totally rigid, and now they're actually preventing the very spiritual growth he wanted in the first place. His perfect system, it is absolutely no room left for evolution.
So what does he do? What can he do? In this just staggering move of cosmic strategy, he wills his own end. He gets it. He understands that for true dynamic creation to really flourish, the old god of authority has to die. His own destruction becomes his final and maybe his greatest act of creation.
And what about Mephistopheles this whole time? Well, he just keeps doing what he does, intending only evil. But, and here's the paradox, he becomes a kind of sharpening stone. All his temptations, his tricky contracts, his chaos, it all serves to test and refine the human soul. It strengthens us through struggle and gets us ready for whatever comes next, for what comes after the gods.
And now, we hit the climax. Act 4, The Shattered Spear. All the final pieces are falling into place, and the old world is about to just break. And that's going to make way for something entirely new.
And there it is, Wotan's spear, the very symbol of his authority, the one with all the divine laws carved right into it. It shatters. And listen, this isn't just a weapon breaking. This is the end of an entire cosmic order. In a flash, that rigid framework of the universe is just gone, forever.
And who steps into this void? Siegfried. He's the embodiment of a new kind of humanity. He's not bound by the old runes, not tied to any divine laws. He is a spirit of absolute freedom, totally uncorrupted by the old systems. He represents a future that has to be forged, not one that's just handed down.
So the crucial point here is this. The spear shattering doesn't mean instant utopia. Not at all. What it does is it clears the path. It clears the way for a future where enlightenment isn't some gift from a god. It's something you have to earn through constant, persistent struggle with the shadow, with the very forces that Mephistopheles represents.
When you look back at it all, in the end, you see that both were absolutely essential. Wotan's poetic laws, they gave us structure, a foundation to build on. And Mephistopheles' deceptive contracts? Well, they gave us the challenge we needed to grow beyond that foundation. Both of them were necessary steps on this long, winding path toward self-determination, toward redemption.
And so we kind of end up right back where we started. If our growth really requires both the order of a god and the chaos of a demon, if we need both the building and the breaking, then this whole story leaves us with one last really unsettling question. What is the true, ongoing price of our freedom? And maybe more importantly, what new gods or new demons are we creating for ourselves right now?